Okay, ready? You ready? Yes, I'm so ready. Okay, ready. Are we recording? I was born, okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. I was born the son of a barber, and this is my first haircut in the basement of a house in Ann Arbor on East Jefferson Street. I moved to Colorado with $240 and a half pound of weed. I was probably like 18 years older at that point. Here's me living in a teepee my first summer in Colorado. Then after that, I became a ski bum. It was pretty much what I wanted to do. I saw some posters on the wall at school and I did it. And in order to make money, I took a job as a cook, and then I worked in different restaurants as a cook. Then I became addicted to windsurfing. Basically, at that point, I decided I wanted to have a food truck that served windsurfers on the Columbia Gorge, so that became my goal. So I made a burrito truck called the Killer Takeout Stand in Colorado and drove it to Oregon. And then I moved to Hawaii, because that's the thing to do after it gets winter in Oregon. I lived in Maui and I lived in a cannery. It was amazing. And then I started painting pictures because it was like kind of an offshoot of food. But at the same time, I worked in a really good restaurant called Highly Mileage General Store. And then after that, I moved to France. After living in Maui about 3 years, I moved to France because it was the ultimate place to cook and work. And then I had a wife in France, and her name was Vanessa, and she worked at a creperie, and this is our creperie together. We made crepes every day, toujours. It was amazing. I've worked in Michigan, Colorado, New York, San Diego. Can't even read them. Michigan, Colorado, New York, San Diego, Portland, Washington, Hong Kong, the Hamptons, Miami, Maui, Bangkok, and Cape Cod. So I worked in all these places, and then I moved to Portland, Oregon because coffee is amazing there. I bought a house and I just became obsessed with coffee. So I kind of had this struggle between being an artist and being a cook. I kind of really did both. The whole time I was doing this, I was drinking lots and lots of coffee. So all these are like coffee-fueled pieces of art that I made. I moved back to Ann Arbor and I had no idea what I was going to do, but I was really missing good coffee. So I got this art studio. I was doing art no one wanted to buy, and it was pretty fun. Okay, so I needed a job. I was back in Michigan, so I got a job at Subaru of all places. This is the last place you'd think I'd ever work, but I started working as a car salesman.
That's right, folks. We've been open all day and we haven't had a single customer in the store.
But I really had this thing. I couldn't get any good coffee, so I decided to start roasting my own coffee in this garage. And at that point, that became my art studio / coffee roasting garage. I tried roasting coffee in a wood stove, which was not very good. I got a little bit better roaster, which was still pretty, with a blow dryer. This was my espresso machine. I bought it at a garage sale for $15. And then I had this big thing about Jesus and coffee because my mother just would not stop talking about Jesus. I became John the coffee guy. I was all about coffee and cars before Jerry Seinfeld. I roasted coffee in my garage, brought it to work, and if you bought a car from me, I gave you a bag of coffee. So I would open up with, when you buy a car today, I'm gonna give you a bag of coffee. And then I had to move the roasting operation out of the garage and into the yellow barn. This is my pretty good roaster that I bought from some gambling guys. I rented some space at the yellow barn, and I would go there before work every morning and roast coffee and then take it to Subaru. So I started roasting a lot of coffee. While I was at work at Subaru, I would make coffee bag labels, and it turned out pretty good. And I would take coffee deliveries while I was at work in my Subaru that I bought at the dealership. And I would give coffee classes to educate people about coffee, and they were really into the coffee classes. They also could buy coffee from my special Magic Coffee Box. You could get coffee at the box if you knew the combination, which was 30-12-6, get your coffee fix. And then I was delivering coffee everywhere and pretty much lived, drank, slept, did everything coffee. I would do the most crazy shit to try to get shit done.
He said, it's time to moose your hair if you want to sell cars.
What did he say?
Don't moose your hair.
I took my vacation from Subaru and worked the film festival, donating coffee and dollars to help the film festival, and it was a blast. And I met my wife because she had to get coffee from the box. And I started doing the farmer's market, which allowed me to stop working at Subaru.
Who wants to buy a car right now? Because we're going to start slashing some prices. Let's go.
and start taking my Subaru to the market with RoosRoast. I had been a huge fan of the farmer's market for my whole life, and we just took it by storm. And we had really good coffee, and people loved it. And there we are making some cowboy blend at the farmer's market cowboy style. Okay, new equipment. We got a new, bigger roaster from Massachusetts that was very, very mediocre. And it was totally full of dirt, and we had to totally rebuild the whole thing and make it work. Great buy. Anyway, so there's Brian, my first employee. And then we used to hand print all the cups, and we'd have printing parties at the house. I got shut down by the Department of Agriculture because I was roasting in a garage, and they basically said, you got to find a real space to roast. And then I went to these guys who were roasting some Guatemalan coffee, and they were called San Rafael, and they were on Rosewood. They let me roast at a price which was very high, but I roasted coffee there. So then, boom, they sold their roaster to me, and I took over the rent, and it became RoosRoast on Rosewood. As the business grew, the family grew, and then there was Jozo. Yes, there he is, little tiny baby. I was so proud. Still proud. He's a great kid. And then Rosewood had a little cafe in it, which was hilarious. We had like 5 customers a day, and I would print bags in the back, and Brian would roast. That was our whole crew. There's Gerald Rush, and there's my son Jozo. I just took coffee everywhere, from every way. Bicycles, festivals. We went to Google. We became like Plum Market. We just started getting more and more business. We took it to the schools, the teachers, and then we worked on movie sets. That was a movie with, I don't know who it was, like Leonardo DiCaprio or something like that. Anyway, all the movie stars, and we served RoosRoast in Michigan to movie stars. And then Rosewood started getting busier. This is a shot of the old van, which I rescued from Portland. That's the van I went on the Great American Writers Tour with, and there's my old truck, and I brought those back to Michigan to kind of restore them. And then we got a new roaster. We stepped it up. We got the Loring, and it came in a big giant box, and I had to put it together. It was crazy. And the Loring is an amazing roaster, and we were the first people in Michigan to get one of these high efficiency, high quality roasters. So you just feel good about it, you know? Feel good about being in this neighborhood, not putting any smoke out in the air, and then having our customers come in and just be like, yeah, this is good stuff. And then we opened another shop downtown, the Liberty store. We had to rebuild the whole place, put a lot of money into it and a lot of time, and we got it done fast though. We literally did this whole build out in probably 2 months. Put up the sign, put up the RoosRoast hand. There's Chris Donnelly, the actual hand that posed for that carving. And there's Sophia, Jack, Burritos, Andy. Oh, and then pandemic hits. Pandemic hit, that's why I'm wearing a mask. And we have to shut down Liberty. As things settled down at Liberty, we were able to establish solar panels on the roof of Rosewood, which now runs on solar power. Okay, we shut down Liberty, but the web store blew up, and the web store just started jamming. So we were delivering tons of coffee in masks. Then we finished the book about RoosRoast, this RoosRoast story, and we're still going strong today. Here's our staff eating lobster dinner from Maine. Look at these people, loving it. Yes, RoosRoast. Go! Are we done yet?